Hi, it's week 2 of the 2-minute tip, your Tipplication. I'm Rich Sands. Now this week's tip is about multiple offers from the seller's point of view. In the tip, we looked at the importance of preparation of both ourselves and our sellers for the multiple offer scenario. Today we'll be applying yesterday's tips in an attempt to get a better handle on multiple offers from that point of view, the sellers. We'll cover 3 applications of the tip: knowing the market, sharing the market information, and conducting an excellent seller consultation, and then we'll close with a dozen bonus tips. First thing you want to do is download the worksheet, and you're seeing the link below that I provided for you at tinyurl.com/tipplication. Let's start with preparing ourselves. You have to know your numbers. You have to know your numbers, and I think the big one you have to have a handle on at all times is inventory. You must be able to measure inventory and know when inventory is shrinking, because there are certain things in the world that happen, and the law of supply and demand is one. If inventory is shrinking over an extended period of time, certain things happen. If this happens, then this happens. They're byproducts. First thing that happens as inventory shrinks is the average sales price will start to go up. Days on market will go down. Sales to list price ratio will start to go up, and absorption rates will start to go down, or at least the number of months inventory that exists will go down. Now, if you're an absorption rate guru, you have no problem with this already. If you're not, there's a great worksheet on the screen right now that I've used with agents and agents use with their sellers to walk them through the process. Let's look at the process simply. If 12 homes are sold in the last 12 months, it means that the market is absorbing 1 home per month. We know that because the number of homes sold divided by the time period will equal an average of the number that are sold per month. 12 divided by 12 is 1. If there are 10 in the market right now, it means we have a 10-month supply, because the number of months inventory divided by the average per month tells us how many months supply we have. So if there are 10 on now and they're going off at 1 a month, it means we have a 10-month supply. Now, I tend to look at this absorption rate thing from 3 sort of points of view. I happen to live in the Denver metropolitan area, so I look at the big picture of the Denver metro area. Then I look at the medium-sized picture of the MLS in which the home exists. And finally, I'll look at the subdivision or the neighborhood of the home. I then tend to look for 3 time periods: 12 months, 6 months, 3 months. Now, there's a great worksheet in the things that you were able to download that actually help you put all of this on a piece of paper so you get a good feel for it. What we're really trying to do when we're determining market value is look at the number of months of inventory that exists. A normal market is 5 to 6 months inventory. Anything less than that leans towards the seller side. Anything more than that tends to lead toward the buyer side. You have to know your numbers, and you have to know them really well. And of course you have to pull up your comps, but within that setting of pulling up competing properties, you need to know your property. You need to be well informed about the property and how it fits in the bigger picture, in the neighborhood, in the subdivision, in the marketplace in general. Once we have it down, once we're totally prepared, then we need to share with them. Now, I think you can share with them in the consultation. I mean, you can sit down with them, and as you're walking through all these numbers, you're showing your expertise. But there are ways to be the market expert before you ever enter the door, and one is through your marketing. We know that 60% of all sellers, according to the National Association of Realtors profile of home buyers and sellers, work with a realtor that they already know. And if we, as realtors that people already know, properly market to them with relevant things like market statistics, market reporting, market expertise, they can know ahead of time what the market's going to be like. You can show them these things in things like newsletters and market reports. You can have various ways that you use postcards or emails to show absorption rates. I'll give you 3 great examples. First, here's the Tahoe Keys monthly absorption rates, and what it's showing is a given month over the last 8 years. That's one way you can position absorption rates so that people understand where the market is now compared to where it was before. Another way you can do that is by showing different areas around a bigger area. So I live in the Denver metro area, which is broken up in the MLS into a bunch of areas. If I do that, I can show multiple areas and compare this year to where we were last year. And finally, I can show it by price range. Price range is really effective, especially if you work the high end. People at the high end need to know that that's a different world than the low end. And as a rule of thumb, the number of months inventory that exists is going to be higher at the high end than it is at the low end. Then we want to do our seller consultation. In our seller consultation, we want to talk about multiple offers. Yeah, we want to explain the market. We want to do a great listing presentation. But as a part of all of that, before it, in the middle of it, afterwards, somewhere in there, we really have to do a solid job of explaining the market and teaching them what it takes to get multiple offers. And one of the first things that has to happen is there has to be competition for the property. So explain how markets work, supply, demand, the whole thing. When the offer comes in, focus them on being the best value in the marketplace. They have to be the one that everyone wants to compete to have. So when an offer comes in, it has to be on their home because it's the best value. It has to be the best house in the marketplace. Now, obviously, price has a bunch to do with this. If you're at the market and you're the nicest place, you're going to get more competition than if you're slightly over the market price, no matter what condition you're in. If you're even below the market, you're going to create competition. And that's the whole multiple offer setting. It's about competition. Some other things to remember: your house has to be easy to show. It has to look good. It has to be well presented. And it has to be effectively marketed to the target audience that's going to most appreciate its finer points and really want to compete for it. Make sure in the seller consultation that you explain to the sellers their options. Now, different states have different laws, different guidelines, different rules. I think basically there are 5 kind of ways we can look at this and we can explain to sellers what their options are. Of course, do what your local market rules, laws, guidelines say. But here are 5 kind of ways that sellers can look at the multiple offer. First, they can just take the best offer they get, period, end of story. Second, they can inform everyone as they're getting that call from that agent: hey, we're thinking about writing an offer. We are writing an offer. That, you know what, we're anticipating multiple offers. We need your best shot up front. So it's kind of the hit me with your best shot theory. We can counter one and reject all the others. So we can take whatever we think is the best offer, counter it, and tell everybody else no. We can counter one and put everyone else on notice that, you know what, we did counter one, but stand by, there still may be a shot here. And one of the things we can do in there, too, when we put everyone else on notice, is encourage them to be on the guard for the potential of writing a backup offer. We can also counter all of them the same. Now, if you get this option as the one you're going to do, have a way that you do it that works. Have a process, a system to where you can counter everyone the same. You can give everyone the same chance to get the home. Otherwise, you're going to find yourself getting in a little bit of trouble down the line, perhaps. Now, understand the bottom line here, and it's something I'm looking for in the seller consultation. How does my seller want to do this? What's their scenario? How's this going to work best for them? All right, now 12 useful tips about multiple offers. First, be patient. You don't have to take the first offer that comes in right away. If you're in a multiple offer situation, there may be better offers coming down the pipe. Second, make sure you understand the process. Know your state rules, know your local rules, know your MLS rules, know your company policy. Understand the process. 3, what you disclose to one person, you disclose to everyone. Fairness is a great concept, and we'll actually even talk about it a little more later. Document everything. Document everything. Write it down. Cover your rear end. 5, create a review process. What is the time frame going to be for offers? What is the time that we're going to allot for us to review offers? And then what is going to be our response time? Make sure you have a process set in stone. You know it, your sellers know it, and the selling agents know it. Set baselines. Know what it is your seller's base acceptance criteria are, and then talk to selling agents to clarify the facts. One of the things I've given you in the Tipplication handout is some questions to ask the selling agent. And if you spend some time with the selling agent on the phone, what you're going to see is you're going to get better offers, and you're going to get offers that more meet your seller's needs. 7, be fair. Your seller may be in this exact same situation next week, or maybe they were in it last week on the buy side. Now, the Code of Ethics says you have to be honest with all parties, you have to present all offers quickly and objectively, and you have to cooperate. It doesn't say you have to be fair, but fairness is a karma thing. Think about backup contracts. Encourage them. Review the whole contract. Cover everything, and offers more than just the price. Maybe think about using a spreadsheet. If you've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 offers, put them all out in front of you so you can get a feel for how they are. Understand in number 11 that you are only going to make one buyer happy. You're not going to make everyone happy in this scenario, and that's just the way it's going to be. And that kind of lends us right into number 12, which is it's not personal, it's business. That's your Tipplication for the seller side of multiple offers. Next week we'll look at the buyer side in both the tip and the Tipplication. I'm Rich Sands. Thanks for tuning in, so to speak. You can get a hold of me at richteaches@gmail.com or find my website at www.richsandseminars.com. Thanks, and good luck with that next multiple offer outburst.